I'm running into this problem where I can't really see what I'm doing. I need the camera farther away. That would probably be better. It's like once I got my hands in the frame, move this. It's over here. That's that's a lot better. Okay.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Watching Paint Dry here on Another Letdown Media. My name is Zach. I'm from the Jason Hex podcast and Another Letdown Media, of course, and I'm joined on the line by two awesome people. I've got Adam Rubitaro from Greater Than Games.
What's up?
And I've got Broody Gambit.
Hello.
And we are going to hang out and paint some minis because it's Saturday night, and that's what we do. We have a painting party. I just sent Adam a whole boatload of new paints, so I'm sure he's going to have some questions as to how they work. So this is kind of a chill, educational sort of thing, having some fun. So let's get down to business. Let's watch some paint dry. So go ahead, Adam.
I've never been here for the beginning of your stream before. I didn't realize how animated you were up front. kick the door down.
Yeah, it's something I started doing when I started streaming for Handelabra, and I don't know, it just kind of rolled back here too. So I'm finishing up some Chaos Dwarf Hobgoblins, as you can see. Oh, thank you for the follow. I can't pronounce that. And I'm also working on the minis from the board game Brutality. Broody, what are you working on?
I have some Rebel and Imperial specialists to finish up for Star Wars Legion.
Nice. And Adam, how about you?
I am painting Raphael from the Ninja Turtles Adventure System, IDW.
Nice.
Great system.
Yeah, I can't wait to play more of that. Like, it looks super cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and the newer set of minis is a lot nicer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah,
about
that's
them.
sick. All right. So how's everybody's week been?
It's been good.
Long.
Long?
Yeah.
In what way, Adam?
I don't know. Weeks right now are both incredibly long and incredibly short.
Okay.
It's like they fly by, but they take forever.
Okay, that's fair. I will
Hashtag
give you
these
that.
trying times TM. Which if I hear someone say that again, I'm gonna punch them.
Oh, I gotta decide how to do lava bases. Which you'd think by now, like I've done hundreds of these, you'd think by now I'd have a good system in place. Spoiler alert, I'm still making it up as I go along.
Okay, so you sent me some.
Make it
I'm
till you
looking
make
through
it.
the ones that you sent me right now.
Yeah.
There's the base coat, which
Yep.
this has already been primed.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so the base coat paint that I sent you, the spray,
Yes.
is special for the contrast paints that I sent you.
Okay.
They're basically most people use them as like a speed painting method. I personally use them as more of a like sort of an in-between between a layer paint and an ink wash.
Okay.
They're a little bit thicker than an ink, but definitely super thin still. So it's just I use them largely for toning colors.
Okay.
But you can also I threw that spray can in because I was like, maybe Adam wants to try just straight up contrast method. And honestly, like I haven't tried that. But
I watched someone do it with the Captain America fig from Crisis Protocol very successfully. But that seems like something I'm not really ready for yet.
Sure. Fair enough.
And
That's
so these are just regulars. That's a contrast. There we go.
Yeah, so if you want to use the contrast and you don't feel like you're quite ready to go the straight contrast method, I would just use them as kind of a tone.
Okay.
That's what I do largely with them. And they work
So
great for
then,
that.
like I'm looking at some of these, and some of them will say layer on here.
Yes.
Some of them will say technical
Mm-hmm.
on there. What's the difference in all these?
So a layer paint is semi-transparent. So that's how you achieve well, I mean, it looks layered. It looks almost feathered, and it'll pick through any texture that's left behind. So I'm using layers right now actually to do the lava terrain on the bases of my hobgoblins.
Let's see. All right. And then my other question here. Two different methods of green stuff. What am I looking
So that's for modeling. Those are some of the stuff that I just kind of threw in as extras. If you find that there's like gaps and stuff in the models before you prime them, you can just hit them with the liquid green stuff, which looks like just a paint pot. You just kind of scrape that into the gaps, and it fills up the gaps,
Great.
which is nice.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things here.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I sent Adam a boatload of paints for tonight's show. And you asked about the technicals. Especially the one that's Blood for the Blood God. It's the red one.
Yeah.
That is my all-time favorite Games Workshop paint. Not solely because of the name, but because of the effect that it gives. It is literally like painting blood onto a weapon.
Oh, okay.
So you use like a wash brush, like a thick, heavy brush,
Yeah.
and you just kind of like you go in the direction that the weapon would naturally go, and it sort of goops up on itself, and you got a really cool bloody effect.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's just like a one-stop shop for that. It's going to work great for like hand ninjas and stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Don't you mean foot ninjas?
Yep. Sorry,
That's-
I've been reading
that's
Daredevil
probably-
all day.
Okay. So let me pull up a picture of Raphael now.
Blood for the Blood God, the red one, as opposed to Blood for the Blood God, the pink one. Or Blood for the Blood God, the Mistdrake one, right, RPD? We've been playing Arkham Horror on stream, and Mistdrake has been pretending to be the Elder God, which has actually been pretty funny. He had us laughing pretty hard at some of he was naming the monsters last night.
Okay, so I'm trying to paint these. I'm trying to do these like. I always like when the turtles are different colored greens.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you can see with Leo, he's a little bit. I don't know if I'm holding him in front of the thing at all.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, with Leo, he's a little bit more of like a lime green.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is Donnie from the first set, but he's like a little bit more olive, a little browny.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say Donatello's usually a little more drab.
Yeah. And then Michelangelo is kind of like a teal.
Yep.
But Raph is like a really kind of pure saturated green, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. So I can't exactly. I probably should have written down the paints that I sent you,
Yes.
but I didn't because I'm a fool. And it's always super weird being in the comic book store with nobody else there.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would recommend for, let's see, Raphael. Or wait, did I say Raph or did you say Raph or Leo?
This is Raph.
Okay.
Yeah. Which the best example I can find of it is looking up the there's like a standing shot of, if you Google TMNT 2003, that show, the promo art for it did a really good job of giving you clean color.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got a bunch of good ones here.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm using the Citadel color app to sort of do some color matching. It's just a straight emerald green, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I put Wogflesh in there, which is just my default standard straight green, and then follow that up with a black ink. That's your Nuln Oil. I definitely put one of those in.
Okay, so the Nuln Oil is black ink.
Yes.
Okay.
And then your layer on top of that Nuln Oil is either.
Wogflesh. That's this one. That's the Wogflesh is here.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, slap that down first.
Do I shake these ones? Do they
Oh,
need to be
definitely.
shaken?
I shake every paint can always,
Okay.
which always is the weirdest thing to look at on camera.
Well, I'm breaking my mini.
Adam's throwing things on the floor already.
Don't break anything.
Yeah, I'll shake it into the camera. There we go. Okay.
All right. Is this guy good? This guy's good.
Okay. So this might be a little bit
I should lock the focus on this.
dark. But I can fix that. I can use that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried my issue with the Naga Green from the Reaper is that like I think it's a little bit light. I think that if I mix these, I can get something decent. Have you mixed multiple paint brands before? Is that okay to do?
I have not. Michael, you might be able to speak to that better than I can.
Occasionally, it's a little tricky at times. I have scooped out like a little bit of a Citadel and mixed it with a Vallejo. Okay. Most of the time, if I'm mixing, my Vallejos being in droppers make it a lot easier.
Yeah,
I'll just like add a drop into my palette over here, and we'll just mix it up.
Yeah, my Reapers are all in droppers, so that's I think that'll work out. All right.
That's always been my one big complaint about Citadel is they're not in droppers. Like I thought
they used to sell some though.
They used to sell like a proprietary, like, here, you can put your paint in this dropper, and it's gross. It was always just easier to use the cans. Oh shoot, just got that all over the guy's foot. Actually, I guess that doesn't make the worst option because it's lava and lava gets everywhere. Yeah, but how are the paints going to dry out if they're in droppers? Yeah, Chamali's got a really good point. They can't sell you as much then.
It's true. It's true.
That's one thing you got to watch out for with the Citadel, Adam, is the you want to make sure you got a good seal on them every time you close them, and sometimes like you'll get chunks of paint built up in the back end right behind the hinge.
Yeah.
And that's
I think I used my Citadel modeling tool more to scrape that paint out from underneath the rim like that than actually modeling.
I'm not gonna lie. Like when we painted the Tarask a few years ago, we had one guy whose job it was to clean up the paint cans. Adam, actually, both of you guys know Sammy Schuster. His brother was responsible for scraping out our paint cans. Alex and I mean, part of that was Alex and I didn't trust him to paint anything.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's good.
Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
Compare it to Leo. The back of it.
Shoutouts to Games Workshop for consistently taking the most consumer hostile approach to everything. And I mean, it's 100% true, RPD. You are not joking, sir. All right, first layer red is down. And I'm already sick to death of this stupid brush. The last generation standard brush from Citadel was freaking awful.
I got so like the Reaper Learn to Paint sets came with a couple brushes, and those have been pretty nice. But I just got some rando set of brushes. They don't even have any like branding on them or anything off of Amazon, and they've been great.
Yeah, well, the current generation Citadel brushes are really, really awesome. So I'm sticking with those for now. But like, I mean, you asked me for an opinion when you bought those brushes, and I mean, you had already bought them, but like, I looked at them shortly after, and I was like, oh my god, I think this may be my next set of brushes.
Yeah, they've been awesome.
What do I need next? Wild Rider Red. And I don't remember if I sent you. There's a technical that does like rust or like oxide.
Maybe, what's it called?
It's something oxide, but it's some weird Games Workshop term. Because God forbid they name anything, you know, blue or rust.
They can't copyright that.
I know. I'll try it. See what happens. That's not working the way I wanted it to. Oh, maybe if I go with the old one. I'm struggling to find the right dry brush for the job here. When they call Games Workshop plastic crack, they mean it. It's expensive, painful, and when you really need to have peer pressure to actually want to join with their products. Rough. I guess it's fine.
This might be a little bit thick.
Okay, that is working. A lot better than I thought. And afterwards, it's structured remarkably similarly to paying off loan sharks. You're not wrong, RPD. Broody, I know you've seen me, seen my post Gen Con Games Workshop haul, and Chamali's definitely seen my PAX Unplugged haul. Although I don't think it was quite that bad last year.
Do you have any like physical tricks for getting like these tight areas like underarms, stuff like that? Like I usually just try and find an angle, but I don't know if there's like any.
I mean, yeah, let's. So, one of the tricks that a lot of people use that I don't necessarily agree with is if you can't see it, it's not that big a deal. But I'm like, yeah, but I know it's there.
I'll know it's there, and I'll be able to see it at some point because I pick these things up and turn them around and look at them all the time. And
right.
I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
And I think
other than that, if you notice that, well, you don't have this problem because those turtles came like pre-done. But if you're having to assemble them, is paint them prior to assembly.
Yeah, that is certainly one way to do it. And I have tried that a number of times, and I find that it's so much harder. I think I mentioned this to you a couple weeks ago, Adam. I find it so much harder to visualize what's going to be going on with the model.
Right. That makes sense. My son is only 3 months old and is teething.
Oh boy.
Which is too early to teeth.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's way fast.
Yeah, by about half. Usually you don't start that until about 6 months.
Right.
So it's not the most fun right now.
I can imagine.
I feel like I need to ask you, as a game store employee, have the GW middlemen, I assume you've lived up to the reputation of the rest of their practices? Okay, no, RPD. The GW people that I know and am friends with are amazing human beings. Like, they're super nice, and they totally own the bull hockey that their company.
They're so good at humaning. They eat, they breathe. They sleep sometimes.
Sometimes. I mean, I've seen them up in the hotel lobby for quite a lot of hours, quite odd hours. But no, they're super, super nice and like super apologetic. I make a joke about knowing one of the Forge World reps to the point where like at Gen Con he'll come up to the GTG booth and like find Alex and me and be like, "Hey, it's Alex and Zach," and we're like, "Hey, James," you know, we know him, and it means quite honestly that we've spent way too many dollars at his booth, but we're okay with it, I guess.
That's how they get you.
100%. It is 100% how they get you.
They're like, "Hey, no, I'm your friend. I would never steer you wrong."
All right, I'm going to use this brush, I think, next.
I have this on my pill bottle so that I can hold it better. And I still will just like drop the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
No good reason. No
Well,
good reason.
The hysterical thing about the Brutality minis is I have to use the bigger painting handle, and they just pop right off it. They're just like, nope, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I saw that happening. I just got some like some of that putty stuff from Target.
Oh, the blue tack?
No, it's white. You just mash it a bunch and then push it down. So like I'm sure they make it blue.
Yeah.
Also, but yeah, that's reusable, and I just mash it up, stick it on there. So like they never fall off of this thing. I can wave them all around, but I just drop the whole thing. So that actually, like, I got a really good base on that, I feel like. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I think I'm actually going to use just the straight up wog flesh for the shell.
Yeah.
Because that's a darker, less saturated green.
Yeah,
And
I love wog flesh. It's a very useful color. If it weren't for the brown undercoat that I do on the hobgoblins, wog flesh would be my go-to for that kind of thing.
Well, we're gonna give it a shot. Oh yeah, that's perfect. I had to mix this last time.
There you go.
Look at that.
All right. Right. We are now moving into the orange layer. RPD says, I was assuming either that London gangster complete with bowler hat and knuckle tattoos, or shivering Rex because the reason for they work for them is because they're working off a debt. So we do have this theory, RPD, and if you look at the shoulder pads of each of these hobgoblins, I don't know how well they're showing on camera, but there is one of the founding members of Games Workshop is called Steve, and we believe that is indeed Steve from the Skulls department, whose job it is exclusively to put excessive numbers and excessive amounts of skulls on all of the models, whether they make sense or not. Even the giant terrain boards that you can buy from GW have just like thousands of skulls on them.
Well, my question is, why not?
Yeah. I did have a friend who decided they made utterly no sense and painstakingly over the course of several months used green stuff to cover up the skulls.
Oh my god.
He went through like 8 packages of green stuff. This is working better.
Right, that was easy. Alright.
I think I see a tiny help me carved in there. Then your eyes are better than mine, Taffy.
Okay. Well, I'm booking it on this one.
There's no such thing as
It's a
ludicrous
lot
overcome.
simpler than Leo, though. Just like, you see, he's just got like a one strap around the waist,
Oh yeah.
and that's it. Whereas Leo has, like, Leo's cross straps. He has swords which have like different colors of metal on them. He
So
has
what you're saying is he's gone full attack on Titan?
Yeah. Whereas Raph is just like, I got a belt, and I got my stabby things. Done.
I'm playing a D&D game on Tuesday nights with Alex Schmidt, and that's very much the difference between mine and Westy's characters. Hers is all like decked out and like very precise. Actually, Trevor's is even worse. And my character's just like, I'm gonna pick up this big heavy object, regardless of what it is, and hit you with it.
Speaks my language.
Right?
Okay, so I'm trying to remember. I really like the yellow that I got on the chest last time. I think that I mixed. A candlelight yellow with a warrior flesh, maybe? That looks right. Let's try that.
What row?
Is that the exact thing that is... Oh my god, I made it the exact same color again. That's so great.
Learning and growing.
And now that I've shown everybody here that I can do it, I will never be able to do it again. I did get a wet palette that I'm anxious to try out.
Nice.
But that seems like a... I need to sit down and figure that out thing.
Sure. RPD is likening it to your stained glass.
Oh my god. I know how to do the stained glass. I'm just never going to do it again.
Right. That was one hell of a learning experience for literally everyone involved.
Oh my god.
Like, I felt like even Candace was losing steam trying to keep you entertained.
Yes. You know. I'm like painting turtle crotch. To touch that up. But that was a good yellow though. Like, turns out real nice.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of yellow, that's what I gotta go find. And I haven't the foggiest what to do with it. Oh, it's a big box. It is. That was convenient. I got this awesome rack that holds 40 paints, and I have found out the hard way that I have easily double that.
I'm really glad you finished that sentence. You paused at an awkward time.
Yep, I sure did that.
Yeah, I was about to say I got my paint rack here for Christmas, and then realized I had way more paints than I thought I did.
Mm-hmm.
I have I bought the Reaper like big set of paints, and it comes with like a plastic bin basically that holds about. It came with 53 paints, so I'm gonna guess it holds. I'm gonna guess it holds about 106 paints.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just like a plastic bin.
Well, like this tray that I paint out of has storage for some paints. It holds maybe like, I don't know, 18 or something like that. But that's obviously nowhere near enough. So I got one that holds 40. I was like, okay, great. But now I have 10 underneath it, plus probably another 15 in the old box.
Yeah. Well, and then I started doing this and putting just like a drop of paint on the top of each of my things.
Sure.
So I can see from, because they're all just like black tops or gray tops or white tops. So.
That is one thing that the Citadel paints have going for them, is they're translucent tops, so you can see right through the.
I'm still gonna do this on these though, because you can't see the real color.
Correct.
So I'm still gonna put the drop of paint on the top of it.
Sure. I certainly did for a while. I mean, the old school Citadel paints were just black screw tops.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it then. And then Force of Habit carried that through for a while. I only just recently stopped doing that.
You're probably familiar enough with the colors and the names.
Yeah. Okay, now it's turning into lava. Thank goodness. Come on. Yeah, I like that. I'm happy with that.
I used Leo half Bleach linen, half desert sand. Bleach linen is really light. There's way too many colors that are almost white.
So, okay, that's just one thing that I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
The Games Workshop white paints are awful. I don't know
Okay.
what it is, but they just die almost instantly if they're not dead on arrival. So I gave you a like really, really, really light gray base paint. That is what I use instead of white. And it works really nicely. It doesn't clump up, it doesn't die. But for some reason, all the GW white paints are just absolutely terrible.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's super weird. That's yet one more thing that RPD, the people who work at GW have acknowledged to me in just quiet conversation. It's like, yes, we know our white paints suck.
This is a no swears stream, right?
I try very hard to avoid it, yeah.
Okay. Alright. I just gotta turn on podcast mode, that's okay.
Yep. We have a joke on the Arkham streams. If somebody swears, Westy yells at them. Which was great when we had Sam and his brother on the show.
Well, in that case, though, Fiddlesticks. I forgot to paint part of the leg.
Story of my life. These hobgoblins,
Rat.
I forget that they have ears.
Turns out they need their ears.
Well, they don't need them. I mean, plenty of them have them cut off by their Chaos Dwarf slave drivers. Hobgoblins are really, like, depressing. Because they are unequivocally slaves. Meanwhile, I've had to paint, like, 35 of them, I think, at this point.
A lot.
Yeah,
Rank and file.
that is a bunch.
Rank and file.
Foot soldiers and make you paint it.
I was gonna say, I've had to go through about that many stormtroopers, but at least the airbrush I can just go solid white over all of them, and then just like some slight details.
Yeah, do the
Yeah.
spot black. Yeah,
Like-
I swear a lot in front of my kids, which sucks, and I shouldn't do that.
How many times has she picked it up?
Only like 2 or 3. A lot of times she was like, "That's bad for Dad." I'm like, I know.
Dad used a bad language word.
She's not a tattletale. I didn't raise no snitch. But she definitely will tell me.
Right. So,
You have an accountability partner.
Yeah, basically.
so my when I was a junior in college, one of my best friends from high school had her first kid, and basically I became Uncle Zach. And Tegan has been angelic from that day forward. Her little sister Finley, on the other hand, has been known to tell her classmates in preschool to stop being a little female dog. Which, of course, has gotten her into trouble of late.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
it's just really funny to watch how horrified Tegan gets when Finley says bad language.
The language is less of a concern for me. The thing I'm more concerned about is that I make a lot of really bad jokes, like horrible jokes,
Yeah.
that are technically like language safe for work.
Right.
Like, none of the words in them are bad words.
They're just foul jokes.
Yes. Yeah. I'm more worried about that stuff.
Honestly, as a teacher, I feel that. Because I make a lot of off-color jokes.
Yeah.
I very nearly, a couple of years ago, I was not the 8th grade class advisor. And looking back on it, I'm like, oh, there was a good reason for that. I was way too close with all of the families of those students. Mm-hmm. Like, I was friends with their parents before I knew the kids.
Oh.
So that was weird. But there's a book in my school's library that was written by a kindergarten class, so I can't get I actually can't get rid of it. Called The Farmer's Huge Carrot.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't know how that got past the school board, but somehow. Taffy says deep inhale. Oh boy.
What do you bet that like some parent like said that stuff to their kid, was like, hey, I'm going to school today. You write this, I know you're writing this book, this is what I want you to say.
They'd probably just finished reading the Hawkeye story, The High Hard Shaft.
Real mature.
Hey, Marvel printed it.
I'm not gonna base my maturity level on Marvel's printing these days.
No.
Mm-mm.
Of course, the classic giant Size-A-Man thing.
Cannot
Yes, Greg, I am definitely painting the base of the Hobgoblins. And I gotta find... Oh, I guess I'm gonna use this horrible white. So I just watched an absolutely amazing stand-up special on Netflix. It's Greg Davis. He's a British comedian. Incredibly funny. He spends the first hour of the show throwing his mother under the bus.
I'm sure she loves that.
Oh, she hated it. Because he talks about that too. He's got a projector behind him. And he put up a picture of a text that he sent him, that she sent him, that said, "Please don't use this in your stand-up special. And even though I know you're going to ignore this and do it anyway, I'm still asking." Obviously, the joke is much funnier than that. But...
Have you watched Middleditch and Schwartz?
No, it's definitely on my list. I love Ben Schwartz. I think he's hysterical. He's amazing as Dewey in DuckTales. But my wife also likes his work a lot too. So I'm waiting until she's...
Was he Sonic in the live-action movie?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I went way too hard on that.
Yeah. The whole time I was like, I can't really view this Sonic as anything but Dewey.
Right. Greg is asking what you guys are working on.
I am working on Raphael.
And I've got some Rebel and Imperial Specialists. So just random mooks. Although I think one of the rebel specialists is based off of like Saska Teft or whatever from the Edge of the Empire beginner game.
Mm.
Right on.
That's basically what I did with my one of my 3 old Hob minis. So I was like, this is close enough to Tiger Claw that I can have a different character. Now it falls to me to make a custom Tiger Claw character.
Yeah, but I mean, you and Chamali were getting pretty good at that.
That's true. I need to get back to that.
I got to learn the
Have you
system so I can
played-
help.
Have you played as Old Hob on in Turtles yet?
No, I haven't played it at all yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Old Hob is great. Me and Casey were going through the second story, the Enemies Old, Enemies New.
Yeah.
And we did the first one as the Turtles, and so we wanted to try different characters, and so there's no way I'm not going to use Michelangelo, so I still ended up using him. But then I picked up Old Hob as the second one, and Casey was Casey and April.
Nice.
Also, she couldn't not pick Casey Jones, so
I mean, right. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I mean it's her name, so. In fact, when she was always at playing baseball, they used to always taunt her with the Casey Jones at the bat rhyme thing.
There was
anyway.
no joy in Mudville that day.
Yeah.
Wait, was her actual name Casey Jones?
No, her name is just Casey.
Oh, I was like, okay.
That would have been
They
dope.
taunted her with the song when she was going up to bat.
Okay.
But anyway, we played through and like I was just sniping Mousers every which way from Sunday. Like with all of his abilities that like don't weaken range attacks and all of his like grenades and stuff that he can bring and RPGs from the action cards. I was just wrecking face.
That's pretty rad.
And then I decided to play not Hob because Hob was actually like the villain in the next scenario.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to break like meta by having 2 Hobs on the board at the same time.
Right. Oh wait, that's none of those is the right ink that I need.
Please share any house characters you create for the adventures. I've created so many. I've created a lot of Marvel. I want to make a whole DuckTales module.
Dude,
Yeah.
I want to help with that.
It requires kind of an overhaul of the system a little bit.
Right.
Because, like, to the extent that Batman does, because you need to make it a lot more goal-based.
Right.
And you need to have people's abilities be a lot less combat-heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You still have some, like, obviously, there's a good bit of combat, and, you know, you get Gizmo, Duck, and Darkwing in there, especially.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
that's
so-
more about the adventure end of it.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because, like, in today's episode, with the exception of Huey and we've seen Launchpad fight as Double O Duck, but everybody fights.
Yeah?
Scrooge fights, Webby fights, Dewey fights. Oh, I'm sorry, Louie doesn't. But Louie has, like, he's very support role stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they've all fought, for sure. It's
Yeah.
just, like, having the... Yeah, and Donald especially.
Right.
Fought in the Navy.
That's true. He did. He went to war.
He did go to war.
But I think that, like, most of their problems are solved extra combatively.
Yeah.
Tell you what I love, though, is in the season 2 finale that Scrooge bounces on his cane.
Oh, I know, right? That was dope.
go for a smaller brush.
Oh my god.
Maybe these reds.
I have made en masse. I mean, the new series, Taffy, has been so good. One of my coworkers texted me the other day. She's like, I'm trying to watch DuckTales, and I hate it. I'm like, are you kidding me? The mere fact alone that they gave each of the kids their own personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she was complaining about the animation style. I'm like, okay, the animation style had to change. Let's be honest here.
So Ness hated that initially too before she watched it.
Right.
And then like once she watched it, she was like, "Oh my god, I actually kind of love it."
Yeah. Well, because it makes perfect sense for what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And
Yeah,
now
like
that we know that they're trying to roll in all the Disney afternoon stuff,
Right.
it makes it so much better.
The other thing is that I've been watching like this YouTube series about like how they reboot each character, and it contains a review of a single episode that exemplifies how they do that.
Yeah, I found that series too. I started watching it this morning.
Yeah, the Donald Duck episode is great.
Yeah.
That like they talk about how how he's been represented in different things. How like in the old cartoons he was basically an actor.
Yeah.
That just he'd have a different job every cartoon.
Right.
Then in like the comic strip he was meant to be just like an everyman.
Right.
And they brought that aspect of him back, but then like made him have to mature because he suddenly has to raise his sister's kids.
Right.
And I love that. And then I also I didn't even notice before that in the first episode he's wearing his cartoon costume and his cartoon outfit, his shirt.
Yeah.
The blue, and they throw it in the wash and put a suit on him, and he never goes back to that. He wears the comic book black. The comic strip black.
Right.
I think that's so cool. It's just like such a little touch that.
Well, I think they also with Goofy's appearance. Adam, have you seen that episode yet?
No, I can't watch until I see a whole season.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, this isn't a spoiler. They really didn't change a whole lot of his appearance because they had already fixed it with Goof Troop.
Yeah.
Right down to the fact that they got the same voice actor to do it.
Yeah.
Which is...
I mean, you can't really reinvent the wheel with their voices.
Right.
We watched the Goofy movie the other day, and Ness had never seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it had been...
That was one of the first things I watched on Disney Plus.
Yeah. It took me a while to get around to it, but when I finally did, I'm like, oh my god, I remember why I love this so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Netflix for the longest time had the sequel, but never had the original for some reason.
Because it was in the vault.
Makes sense.
Yep.
I love the sequel.
I love the sequel too. I think it's great.
But I just couldn't believe she hadn't seen it, and especially watching it now as a parent.
Yeah.
You're like, geez, this is hard.
Yeah. At this rate, I'm expecting Donald to get to wear the Maui Mallard outfit.
Oh my god, that would be so cool.
Right? So from the poster that we saw at Comic-Con last year, we are expecting Tailspin still.
Yeah, but
it's go ahead.
It looks like Kit is in the Baloo role.
Yes, but I believe I saw somewhere that Baloo is still going to make an appearance.
Okay.
which fine. Like, Blue's always been lazy. If he can get Kit to do his job for him, he will.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, obviously Fowl is the big bad this season. What are they going to do with Fowl to make them, you know, enough of a threat to warrant the Rescue Rangers and Goof Troop and Tailspin and Darkwing Duck and all that stuff to come together?
Yeah. How do they do in the Rescue Rangers episode? How do they do the size issue? Are they tiny?
They are tiny, yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Probably more tiny than they need to be, if you consider the size of ducks.
Yeah.
But no, they just went with the tiny thing. They didn't speak, which kind of bummed me out because I really wanted, like, especially since they got Tress MacNeille to do
Gadget?
No, they got her to do someone else.
Oh. Weird.
I'm drawing a blank right now on who it was, but it was some like secret agent person in last week's episode. And I was like, if they got her to do that, they couldn't, have Gadget squeak out a couple of lines, like, really?
I mean, they might be waiting to recast them.
It's possible.
If they're intending on using them more than a little bit at all.
Right.
Ness lost her mind. I almost said something else. When at the Gummy Bears episode, she.
Oh my god.
I'm really interested to see the Double O Duck one, though.
That one was amazing. That was the
really
Rescue Rangers one.
What they've been doing with Launchpad, like every time they want to write him out of a story,
Yeah.
that he just like goes, he's like, "Goodbye, Ming-Wen, wherever you are."
Oh, right. Taffy's just pointed out, Tress MacNeille voiced Daisy.
Oh.
My bad. I had the wrong episode. And Daisy also is absolutely phenomenal. Best version of Daisy we've ever seen.
Yeah, I heard that. Ness did not like Darkwing first. I had to kind of talk her through it to get her to like it.
That was a weird bit of business.
Because she was like, "Wait, is the Darkwing from my childhood evil now?" And I was like, "No, that's not what they're saying."
No.
I was like, "No, I would get being pissed about that."
Oh yeah. It was one of those that episode in particular was a really cool like Sherlock Holmes moment where I realized that we were going to see Negaduck right before it happened, and it felt so good.
Right. I'm surprised he didn't say, "Wait till they get a load of me."
Yeah.
Because I felt like they set that up.
Ugh. Oh, that's just bubbles. Okay, never mind. Launchpad sashaying off into romantic adventures is always the best little gag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the part I've been dreading. I gotta do eyeballs.
Use my patented easy eyeball technique.
Go on.
What is your patented easy eyeball technique?
You have to do the eyeballs first. That you paint the entire eye, and then you paint the lids around it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You paint a full circle for the eye and put the pupil facing the way that you want it.
Yep. And then backtrack from there.
Yeah, and then paint the skin over it, because that's how eyes work, and that's just something that I only thought to do because that's how I do it when I draw.
Right.
I think most miniature painters don't come at this from a place of being a illustrator.
Right. Gotta figure out where their eyes are at all.
So like it's understandable that like, you know, in the instruction manual, Reaper how to paint stuff. Like I learned a lot from that book. But they tell you, oh yeah, just put a little dot on the edge of your thing, and then like really precisely do that. And I was like, yeah, dog, that's gonna be no for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, the eyeballs I have to do off camera. I just like I can't reach that far away from me and be that precise. Well, maybe I can. No, I really can't. Oh. Yeah, the Negaduck reveal was so good.
Well, and I knew that it wasn't him, like from the moment Jim Starling, obviously.
Right.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Or like at least I was like, well, I mean. And then they introduced Drake Mallard, and I was like, oh, this is the guy. And I really like though that they I really like how they turn the slapsticky nature of the original show into basically a superpower. You know?
Right.
And like his origin story.
Which is why I enjoyed it all that much more when I went back and watched the original again.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. I also noticed that it looks like when we get Gosselin, presumably this season, she's going to be grown up too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or like teenager.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd be more interested in that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see they said that I don't know how the Goofy episode goes or how old Max is.
It takes place at least after Extremely Goofy Movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. In the very first episode, Donald is in waiting room for the Glomgold job.
Yep.
And the person sitting next to him supposedly is Roxanne.
Oh. I'll have to go back and rewatch that. That's interesting.
She's only in like one shot of the thing, but
right.
Like that makes sense if Max is grown up, then she would be also.
Yeah, because Goofy mentions the roller coaster bit from Goofy Movie.
Yeah. Oh. Well, there you go.
Taffy's like, oh my god, I remember she looked familiar. Yeah, that's really fascinating.
Yeah, if I didn't have a brush on my hand, I'd link you.
Oh, I've got it. I could just open it on my iPad, but I too have brushes and or paint in my hand.
Besides, don't get careless, Adam. There is never a time where it's okay to be careless doing that.
Cool. All right, I got the whites of their eyes all done.
And then you can shoot.
Yes. Stand and shoot specifically. Or wait, I'm painting Blood Bowl. I guess that doesn't really work. Oop.
Okay. Mouth time. I'm trying to decide if this will be easier to precision do the teeth or do the same way that I do eyes.
Teeth, I do sort of after the fact.
He's got like, I don't know if you can see, he's got like this open mouth.
Not really.
Let's see if I can lock that a little bit. There we go. Yeah. He's got like this open mouth. And most of it's gonna be red. I'll do dragon red. It's like really dark. Go.
Okay. First dude done. For eyes.
I think it's cool, Rudy, that you have that there are like specific models in the specialist stuff though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like, if I have a horde of something, I always like there being like, oh, that's this one, clearly, you know. There's the one that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't played too much Legion. I've only been like, I've had the models and I've just been painting and assembling them, but from what I've seen, like even the basic Stormtrooper or Rebel squads, there's like unique upgrade cards where it's like, this is the guy with the minigun, or things like that.
Yeah.
So like your squad, based on if you take any extra upgrades, will have additional minis that are more unique.
That's cool. I like that.
But then even then, each squad is like 7 unique minis as well.
Yeah.
It's just for the most part they're all functionally the same.
I'm basically brute forcing that with my my Batman thugs, with my purple dragons. All the
Yeah.
I'm just gonna paint them all differently.
Yeah.
Sit down with Candace and we're just like, I'm just gonna be as creative as possible with each of them.
Nice.
Yeah, I was lazy with like all of my thug brawlers and gunners and stuff, and just kind of did them all the same. It let me get them done a lot quicker, but like I always pictured it more as a like imagining them like a video game character, where you kind of see the same animations and stuff as the same figures popping up a bunch.
Yeah, I might do some of them like that, but like do it like how a video game does like palette swaps.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
There was one guy on the IDW site. He was sharing pictures of his where he made one of his gunners. He made him look like Ash Ketchum, and then painted a Mouser to look like Pikachu.
That's
awesome.
hysterical. That's too dark. All right. Casiolo it is then.
Yeah, I painted my I don't like one of the few things I don't like about that W comic is the Foot Clan.
Yeah,
The way they look.
they look a little janky.
They just look so generic.
Mm-hmm.
The black and red is boring. I like the purple shredder. You know, and so I painted my shredder figure like the animated series, and my Foot Clan, my base levels one. I did the purple, but I have like a list of how I'm gonna do each of them. I'm painting them like the old video games. That each of them will have like a different color scheme depending what they can do.
Nice.
Very difficult. This mouth.
All right, just one step left to go on these guys. Well, two, I guess. Adam, Hean is asking which animated series you're talking about.
Wait, what?
I have no idea what you're talking.
Oh, I painted Shredder like the 80s game.
There you go. 1980s.
And my Krang figure broke in shipping.
Oh no.
Also, well, one of his antennas broke off, so they sent me a new one, and I'm just gonna shave the other antenna off of the original and paint that like the animated version also.
Oh, nice. Good idea.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. I don't know if you can. Let's see if I can bring this down some. Here's his face. I don't know if you can see that. I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
What's a little doing with that mouth.
So I rewatched the Aladdin cartoons last night and this morning.
Oh boy,
Mhm.
okay.
Those were fun.
The animated series?
Yeah. Not the TV ones, the movies.
Oh, the movies.
Yeah.
All three.
Yeah. Return of Jafar was a little rough.
Return of Jafar is weak. The third one's great though.
Third one's really good.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I noticed between the first and second, and less so in the third, because I truly feel like they just got their act together for the third. They make the shift from Walt Disney Studios animation to Walt Disney TV animation.
Yeah.
And you can noticeably detect the change in art style and animation style.
Yep.
The first one is very technical and polished, where the second one is just like, oh, yeah, the same guys who worked on Rescue Rangers did this.
Yep. It is clearly straight to DVD.
Well,
Sorry, straight to VHS.
yeah.
Straight to Betamax.
The it kind of makes it clear how much Robin Williams makes or breaks that series, though.
Yeah. I mean, Dan Castellaneta is funny, but he's not Robin Williams.
No.
And he knew it.
is. He often imitated but never duplicated.
Yeah.
If you remember, that's a line from the first one.
Yep.
Okay.
And it makes me all that much more angry that they used Will Smith instead of
To be honest,
archive footage.
like unpopular opinion, I actually did not mind Will Smith in the live action one. Like, he wasn't as funny, but he's like arguably still a better actor, and I feel like he carried the emotional parts of the role and the like better character development that the genie got in that movie better than how it was handled in the animated one.
I'm mostly irritated with what they do with him musically. That like
Sure.
they don't. If you have Will Smith, you should let him be Will Smith.
Let him
Yeah.
do the rap, yeah.
Right, and like in the credits, they do that version of that that is basically a Will Smith version of Friend Like Me.
Yeah, see,
It's
that's
different from the
brilliant.
one in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, man. RPD. Oh, gods, I just remembered I watched that mini documentary about Jim Varney. I'll let you have to. One guess who's responsible for Ernest getting his 4 out of his 5 theatrical release movie.
I watched that movie or that documentary too. First viral video star. That was fascinating.
The genie works best when the performer doing his bit is allowed to let their persona guide the character's quirks. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right, Taffy.
And then like Jasmine's song seems stupid
Mm.
also because like it's all like I won't be silent, and it's like no one has stopped you from talking.
Right. Like Jasmine
Like-
was always one of the strongest of the Disney princesses on her own.
Yeah, no one ever shut her up.
Right.
Like there was never anyone being like, "You're not allowed to talk because you're a princess." She like came and yelled at Aladdin and Jafar and the Sultan in that time with the "I'm not a prize to be won," and they're all like, "I feel really bad."
Ooh. Ow.
That's not what I would call silencing.
Right. That's all set.
It also seems really atonal for the rest of the movie. Like, it doesn't match. It's too modern a song, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So washes dry.
There it is. All right. Last bit of business for these guys. A little patching on the bases.
I had my butt saved by a stranger today.
Oh?
You know? So I'm supposed to teach a Zoom art class to a kid for his birthday.
Okay.
And we're scheduling out when to do that. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I mean, I could do Sunday, you know? But it was last night.
Yeah.
She was like, would tomorrow be okay? And I was like, oh yeah, I could do. Well, I mean, I couldn't do tomorrow because it's just too soon. I could do Sunday. And she was like, oh, well, that's Mother's Day. I wouldn't do that to you. I was like, oh God. It's just got murdered.
Hasty Amazon order. We are going to do social distancing visiting with my parents tomorrow morning. Because I think my mom is going a little stir crazy.
Oh, I meant for Ness.
I know.
Okay.
The only thing that my wife is a parent of is the cats, so...
Yeah.
Ooh, whoa, dear.
There we go. You're totally right. That is entirely all that.
The entire song is... Oh, yeah. Okay. Time to start getting purchases. All right. I think these hobgoblins are now ready to play some football.
But like slave football?
Yeah.
Weird.
Don't worry,
Did
the
you ever
dwarfs are
play,
taking the stage. What?
Did you really hey, thank you, Maury. I really appreciate that. Did you ever play Mutant League Hockey? Paul?
Yes.
Those games were fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Missing a little bit of the spot on the red.
I'll hold these guys up so people can see them.
Yeah, I'll give you a show you the progress. On this one too. Oh my god, I hate the new live action Beauty and the Beast. Probably worse than any of them.
Oh my god, no, yeah, definitely the worst. Definitely
There's
the
no
worst.
reason to watch that. Just go watch the animated one.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only animated picture ever nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
And it won
that
Golden
good.
Globe, if I'm not mistaken.
I would be unsurprised.
Either Taffy or RPD. Can one of you look that up? I have research team. Alright, I need a precision.
Okay.
Precision
So,
select.
the way I did this before is I did select areas with a brown one,
Yep.
and then select with a black.
Yeah, that's generally how I approach things too. With Brutality, I'm doing pretty much straight up black wash because that's just like it's the heavy detail lines that.
Right, you want the heavy ones, yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I have that color.
Won the Golden Globe, yeah, you were right.
There we go. Thank you,
It is
Taff.
a magnificent film.
It's so good. It's a really good story. And I just feel like they did it a disservice in the
Yeah,
live
it's-
action.
It's also like torn apart by internet nitpickers going like, "Wow, but he was 11," and you're like, you're missing the point of the whole.
Yep.
Like it's a fairy tale. It doesn't matter how old it is.
Right.
Well, they tried to explain that away in the live action one with like time loop shenanigans and things.
Yeah, like that's like all of Disney now is like explaining away internet like that was the entire point of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Was like, but why did they leave the vent open?
Knobs.
I mean, and not only that, I mean, like, just look at Rise of Skywalker, where they have to explain so much just through the novelization.
Right.
Oh, I still haven't watched it yet. So watch it with me. Okay, so I have this Null Oil. This is the wash.
Yep.
Okay.
Open it slowly.
Okay.
Oh goodness, Lord, I've ruined pants with spilling that stuff.
Yep. What I recommend doing is like holding it to your table and like prying it open slowly that way.
And then like this Reichland Flesh Shade, that's another one.
Yeah, Flesh Shade is definitely for skin mostly though.
Okay, that's for skin. All right. Is there any other washes in here? Technical?
I might have put in Agrax Earthshade. I do. Oh no, we were out of Agrax Earthshade.
Okay, I have Sterling Battlemire and Astro Granite.
Okay, those are both technicals. That's what I use for the bases.
Okay.
They're like spreadable.
I've been doing just solid black on the bases, and I like how that's turned out.
Yeah. I just figured I'd give you some options.
Yeah. Oh, these are the ones that have texture.
Yes.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Okay.
Yeah. That's how I did.
Yeah,
Actually, Astro Granite is how I did Fountainhead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I see. I'm looking at that right now. All right. Well, I'm very nervous about this.
Oh, well, Broody and I have stopped.
What?
It looked like both of us had stopped what we were doing to watch Adam open a can of paint.
Okay, that wasn't that bad. I don't know what you guys are so worried about.
Well, some of them are worse than others.
It's kind of like that moment in the Jumanji, where it was like they were Jack Black and The Rock, and everyone was trying to explain how to go to the bathroom. It's like, make sure to aim. It's like, what happened to you?
Oh, so this is really light. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. Don't want to overdo it.
Quite honestly, when I'm doing ink wash stuff, I just kind of get a whole bunch on my brush and kind of go to town. It'll pretty much just flow right into the cracks.
Boy, oh man, this texture is so good.
Right? You do have to let it dry for a pretty solid amount of time, though. My rule of thumb with ink wash is... Sorry?
I'm probably going lighter than I need. I try to paint these brighter, though,
Sure.
in general. So,
My rule of thumb with ink washes is I let them dry overnight.
I don't do that.
That's fine. My buddy Joff doesn't do that either, so...
I don't have the patience for that.
Well, my problem that I ran into is I would smudge the ink when I would try and go over it with a layer. So I'm just like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Well, I don't do as many layers, though, also.
Sure.
I'm doing this very, very thin. Oh, that makes that shell look great, though.
Doesn't it?
God.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look at that.
I love it when you forget about the little
I feel like
thingy
I'm
on the
gonna
back
go
there.
overboard,
Oh, I often ignore the little thingy on the back of the paint pots, Maury. Because if I spill it, then it pulls in behind the thing and I can't close it. Boy, this cape is totally in the way. So I'm doing the Gravekeeper for Brutality now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's rad.
He's super dope. I'm a little disappointed though because his sculpt doesn't have the lantern.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is easy mode.
Right?
I feel like I'm cheating. Did they make like a brown wash too?
Yeah, it's Agrax Earthshade. That's the one we were out of.
Oh.
Otherwise, that would definitely have been included because I use that almost as much as Nolan Oil.
This is awesome. This is
I was
really...
gonna say, for the most part, I used between Nolan Oil and Agrax Earthshade. until I got like the Citadel like shade bundle that
Yep.
actually came with the green and the brown and the red and the yellow and stuff in it. It like that's just been a godsend.
Oh yeah.
It has drastically improved everything that I've done.
I use my favorite, especially so these hobgoblins, right? Any of their like chainmail or anything like that. Come on, focus camera. I use the camo shade, and it makes them look like either poisonous or like rusted, or both. It just makes them look really gross.
That's cool. I'll have to pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
Citadel Shade Pack.
Yeah, it came with 9 different shades.
Yeah.
It actually is shading a little bit darker than I want it to, but it's okay. I'm fine with it.
It looks like they don't sell the
But that
pack
is
anymore,
cool.
though.
It looks like someone drew the lines in that back.
Yep.
That is really cool. I might
It's-
actually, while I'm waiting for that to dry a little bit, I might take that over to Leonardo's back. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I ordered mine off of Amazon, so I'm not sure where it came from. And I got it over Christmas.
Oh, sure. I don't need this anymore.
But yeah, like I got the full set of like the base coats, the layers, the dry brush, and the shades. All
Oh,
at
cool.
once.
Nice.
That's insane. Like, how does it do that?
Hien, we are so Adam's got reference art that he's working on, and then we used a combination of the Citadel Paint app that I use. I looked up a couple of suggestions, and then just a couple of color mixing and matching. To achieve
Yeah,
that.
so this is the second time I've painted the turtle. So he's going for something very specific. I'm using the 2013 promo art for the turtles because it shows them in their different colors like they used to do on the Sega Genesis game, stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing primarily. Okay. Make a wash and attempt to do as good a job as that Nuln Oil. You know, we'll see though. Making a brown wash for that shell and the bandages. So light. Okay. This is actually way better than the wash I did. It's way too dark.
Mhm.
And I had to do extra highlighting to compensate for it. I would say though, from from my experience, my limited experience, my 6 months of experience in painting minis, my knowledge of color theory has helped me more than anything else.
Yeah.
If you learn about those skills, they apply across the in terms of
Absolutely. You know, so I look back at the minis that I painted before college, right?
yeah.
Because college is where I got that color theory knowledge. And then I look back at the ones that I've done since, night and day.
Yeah. Really dark. That's darker than I want it, but that's okay. We'll lighten that one. To do that, we'll take the really light one. Oh yeah, I'm curious about that too. Have you done Zenithal primer before?
Don't even know what that is.
It's where you prime the gradient. That you like spray, you like prime the whole thing like a dark gray, and then just white from the top, like from the light source.
Oh. No, that's not something I've ever tried. So, honestly, I pretty much only prime things black. That's just the style that I use. I don't know why I do that. It's just always seems to be the tone I'm going for. Like if you think about
prime Brutality black,
yeah,
I primed Hellboy gray, and I primed Turtles white.
Yeah, if I were doing something like Turtles, something light, I would probably go into a white. But I always find myself painting things like Brutality or Blood Bowl or Batman or Gears of War is coming up soon. And so it just doesn't. None of that stuff makes sense to prime white.
Makes sense.
Some of my early dwarfs I did paint or did prime white for two reasons. One, that's all they had, but two, I was looking for a more cartoony feel because that's where Warhammer was at the time. And then once I discovered that I could get a more, well, grimdark tone by priming things black, and it was really once I started painting Space Marines that I started doing that. I haven't looked back, and I can't tell you how many cans of primer I've gone through in the last couple of months trying to get ready for this show.
You're not at liberty?
I can't count that high.
It's not working how I intended. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Although, you know what I might do is I might try a white primer when I do something like Wingspan. Or, sorry, not Tail Feathers. The Mice and Mystics spinoff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we're gonna use this guy. So, there.
No. Selling a lot of it, mostly. Yeah. Or having a lot of requests for it. I haven't actually had a chance to play it myself.
Not either. It's in my warehouse. We ship it.
I know.
But I haven't played it.
I did have someone come in looking for it at one point, and I was like, you know what? Because I knew it was out of the warehouse level.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Give me a minute. And I fake texted your sister. I was like,
Yeah.
Faye, can you just text me back the word no? She's like, what? Why? I'm like, I know you guys are out of Wingspan. Just tell me no so I can send this customer away. He was annoying me.
Wow. Zach, let me teach you a few things about business. You taught me about paint. I feel like it's the least I can do.
You know, it was half an hour after I was closed. I was just cleaning things up, and I'd forgotten to lock the door. Normally, I'm far and away the nicest employee at the store.
I'm
But
sure you are. You're a very nice guy.
I try to be.
I don't mean to blow. Well, I'm not like blowing smoke up your ass either. You are very nice, but
Oh, thank you.
I was not when I worked at the comic book store. If you see High Fidelity, I was Jack Black in High Fidelity.
Oh, yeah.
That was me.
My first job, as Adam, you know, Broody, I don't know if you know this or not, was in a video rental store. And I...
A Blockbuster-like thing?
Smaller. Just like a local no-name video store. It's called Video Junction. The guy who owned it was a complete creep. Never showed up other than to sign our checks, so we made our own schedules. Which effectively rendered us about as useful to customers as Randall Graves from Clerks. I would spend most of my shifts doing exactly this, painting miniatures and watching movies and with my feet up on the desk. I had a big old pile of cash on the counter that said, and I hadn't seen Clerks at the time, so this is weird, take what you're owed, be honest. I would mess with customers. I would rip up their memberships every now and again, just for funsies. Years later, in college, when I finally did watch Clerks, it was like having an out-of-body experience. I think that's why I'm so obsessed with those movies now. Actually, oddly enough, when I came down to visit last year, I was hanging out at Matt and Katie's place, and Maggie made the mistake of telling Matt and me that she hadn't seen Clerks. Matt and I looked at each other and immediately turned it on.
You guys are from around there too, though.
What was that?
You guys are from around there, though, too.
Yeah, Matt more than me, but yeah. I definitely spent my fair share of time in Jersey. Or in and around, I should say. One of my best friends from college grew up there. Oh, she's the one that's Jack Kamen's niece. Or, sorry, granddaughter. Dean Kamen's niece.
I'm almost done here. I gotta highlight the red a little bit, and then do the base black. But
Yeah.
outside of that,
Yep, I'm just trying to finish up this brown layer. Depending on where we're at, I might try and throw the silver down, but I can also do that off camera. It's pretty tedious. One of the nice things about remote teaching is I can very easily paint miniatures while I wait for students to email me.
oh sure.
I can paint miniatures, I can play dumb video games that require, you know, little thought process. Like Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl came out this week. And thereby I'm now answering RPD's question that's been sitting there for a little while. Yeah, I played it a little bit. It's really hard. Like almost unnecessarily so. It's the controls and actions are very River City Ransom, but the thugs deal a lot of damage. I've only played it for a few minutes, but I am improving quickly. So hopefully I'll be able to stream it at some point.
It's not the thuggy.
I'm pretty sure the first boss is LaFour's.
The first boss?
Yeah. I think Walt Flanagan's dog shows up at some point. But I could be completely wrong there too.
Why is LaForce the first boss though? Isn't that?
You'd think they would be later, right?
Yeah.
But like I think Dante and Randall are bosses in it.
Okay.
Like you have to fight your way to the quick stop.
Oh, I was gonna say, does it like roughly follow Mallrats? Or?
It takes place in between Mallrats and whatever's next. Because ostensibly, if I'm remembering correctly, Mallrats takes place exactly one day after Clerks.
Oh, does it? That would make sense, I guess.
Because they talk about Julie Dwyer.
Yeah, they talk about.
I'd love it if it just takes. So there's a series of comic books that bridge the gap between Chasing Amy and Dogma. RPD. It's called. I mean, they were called Jay and Silent Bob, but I think there was a one-shot called Chasing Dogma.
I think I have the collection of it.
I definitely do.
Are they the Jim Mafood ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Abaddon Black, is that just black?
That's just straight up black.
Okay. Alright, that's what we're gonna try using here. You guys going to bed? Are you guys going to bed? I don't know if you were doing your bedtime thing.
This guy's looking, based on how much black is currently still there, he looks super like the Scarecrow.
Oh yeah. Seems like Reapers dry faster.
Yes.
Let's set it up. Seems like it smells also. I don't know about if this is just in black. Seems like they're a little bit harder to clean on your brush too.
Yeah, they do tend to be that way. For example, I have one dry brush that is exclusively my red dry brush.
Ah. I haven't been dry brushing the newer turtles because I want them to have I just want them to have a less naturalistic look.
Mm-hmm.
I want the colors a little flatter, and it's been turning out really nicely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, that Nuln Oil is making me handy with a mouser.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a very common reaction the first time people use Nuln Oil. They're like, oh my god, where's this been all my life?
Right. Holy crap. Like, because, oh my god, you just saved me hours with that. Because I'm just going to paint all of those silver, just paint them all silver, then just wash them all black.
Yep.
With the Nuln Oil, and then like spot the lights after
Yep.
they dry. I actually, so like I accidentally dumped my silver out like a couple months ago when I was trying to, because sometimes the nozzles get clogged and I didn't have a needle or anything, so I was like, oh, I'll just take it off, dump a little bit.
Oh.
So I was like, well, okay, I guess now is the time I'm painting the giant mouser.
Right.
Because I didn't want to waste all that paint. So I have that. I have that ready to go. Just coated in silver. This.
Yep.
I might just do that right now.
Do it.
See how the Nuln Oil looks on that.
Oops. Well, good news. So far, the storm count on this guy jumping off the base is 0.
So wait, what's the little thing on the back of this for?
Ostensibly, it's you're talking about the little tab on the back of the paint can?
Yeah.
It's ostensibly to hold the lid open. I don't like using them because I find that they get stuck, and then I invariably spill them.
Let's see.
And especially today, I've been more clumsy than usual, so as observed by my wife at dinner.
There we go. Fill in those cracks. Have you tried to paint any the Fate of the Elder Gods?
No, I have not. And I can't decide if I want to or not. Because they are already ink washed.
Right, that's what I was curious about.
And that's
Curious how they'd react to that.
yeah, I mean they'll still work. You prime them and you're back to ground zero. But like I love the way they look with the ink wash.
What's that?
I love the way they look with the ink wash.
Yeah, no, I do too. They look really good. I'm wondering though if because of the ink wash, if you can treat that as primer. You know, like I can get extra sets of those. I might just try it.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
Is he you?
He is me, yeah. But I'm wondering if you can use that essentially as primer and do just like contour paints on it. And go for something like a kind of like sketchbooky effect almost.
Right.
I'm curious about that.
Oh dear. Lead Belcher is doing the Lead Belcher thing.
What's your Lead Belcher doing?
More than any others, Lead Belcher has a tendency to clump up behind the tab on the top
Yep.
on the top of the paint can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that looks awesome. Did not do much to this.
Yeah, that looks super dope.
Yeah. And then I'll just paint the lights on,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And like those shouldn't really have washes over them anyway.
Right.
It's even bright. And that guy is basically done.
Mouser, Mega Mouser.
Yeah, Mega Mouse, yeah. Even like where it's cooling a little more than I would normally like it, it looks like oil. So,
Mhm.
just like want a machine to. Good stuff.
That's right. Whoops.
Are you? Don't think so. I think I am done.
Yeah, I think I'm about ready to call it for tonight too.
Here's
Yeah, I'm just finishing up also.
here's a comparison of this set's Roth and Leo. Grab the previous Roth and compare that.
Yeah. Yes, RPD indeed. Lots was accomplished. This was super fun. Like, great idea, Adam. Thank you for suggesting it. And we'll have to keep doing these.
Oh, for Blemblo. There's the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
That one I'm not so unhappy with as I was with Leah,
Right.
but I do think that this is a better job.
Yeah. while we're showing things off, I'm particularly happy with the way this particular hobgoblin came out.
Nice.
I love the way the lava looks on his base. Definitely looks like it's moving.
Yeah, that's cool.
Rudy, how about you? What did you get done?
So, here are my 2 Imperials.
Nice, nice.
And then I've got the Droid and the Rebel.
Nice.
Or the Rebel Specialists. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there's the focus. Oh, that looks great.
That's really good.
Let's go back in on these guys. No. There it goes, maybe. This is like a, goodness, almost 10, 11-year-old webcam that I'm still using.
Hey, it looks fine to me.
Yeah.
Mine's 5 or 6 probably. I don't. It was in a box.
I mean, mine's a streaming webcam, so. But then, I mean, the document camera's brand new. All right, well, thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody had a good time. I know I certainly did. Thank you to Adam and Mike for hanging out. And yeah, absolutely. We'll do this again next week. We'll be back same bat time, same bat channel. All right, everybody, take care.
Bye.
Bye.